When Kim Kardashian speaks publicly about other people's media decisions, it's rarely accidental. She understands optics better than almost anyone alive, which is why her recent podcast comments sent shockwaves through celebrity and royal-watching circles alike. Without raising her voice or sounding confrontational, Kim confirmed something that many had suspected but never proven. The now infamous Montecito party photo wasn't a mistake. It wasn't a leak. It wasn't an ambush. It was approved. That single admission reframed an entire controversy. For months, speculation had swirled around a photograph showing Prince Harry and Meghan Markle attending a high-profile California gathering just before Remembrance Day. The image vanished quickly from social media, but not before it was noticed. The timing alone raised eyebrows, especially given Harry's long-standing public connection to veterans and military remembrance. What puzzled observers wasn't just the photo itself, it was the speed and urgency with which it disappeared. Now, thanks to Kim Kardashian's calm but revealing explanation, the sequence of events looks very different. According to her account, there was communication between teams. Permission was discussed. Approval was given. In other words, this wasn't a spontaneous post by an overexcited guest. It was a coordinated moment that unraveled after the fact. Kim described the aftermath with striking understatement, saying everyone later realized the situation was silly. Coming from someone whose brand thrives on calculated exposure, that word carried weight. In Hollywood terms, silly doesn't mean unfortunate, it means avoidable. The implication is damning. It suggests that a couple who left royal life claiming mastery over their own narrative failed at the most basic step of image management, situational awareness. The date, the symbolism, the audience, none of it appears to have been fully considered until it was too late. The irony is difficult to ignore. Harry and Meghan have spent years asserting that they understand media mechanics better than the institution they left behind. They position themselves as modern operators, fluent in digital culture, unburdened by tradition. And yet, when faced with a straightforward celebrity optics decision, they froze. What makes Kim's revelation particularly cutting is not what she said, but how she said it. There was no mockery, no accusation, just a factual recounting paired with gentle advice. When controversy hits, lean into it. In Kardashian speak, that's a lesson learned through decades of relentless scrutiny. You don't erase, you contextualize, you move forward. By contrast, the Sussex response was silence followed by disappearance. The photo was scrubbed, no explanation offered, no acknowledgement made. That vacuum allowed speculation to metastasize. Instead of a fleeting, awkward moment, the incident became a lingering narrative about panic and miscalculation. Industry professionals noticed immediately. Publicists pointed out that deleting high-visibility content rarely ends a story. It extends it. The internet treats removal as confirmation that something went wrong. In that sense, the reaction caused far more damage than the original image ever could have. The deeper issue exposed here isn't just one photo, it's inconsistency. At the Montecito event, Harry and Meghan were doing what many celebrities do, networking, appearing connected, positioning themselves among influential peers. That's not inherently controversial, but attempting to reverse course after the image no longer aligned with another audience, particularly a British one, reveals a couple caught between identities. They want the benefits of celebrity culture without its trade-offs. They want the symbolism of royalty without the constraints. And moments like this demonstrate how difficult it is to straddle both worlds successfully. Kim Kardashian's involvement only sharpened that contrast. Her family has survived and monetized public crises that would have destroyed others. They don't pretend to exist outside fame. They manage it. That difference in philosophy matters. By confirming approval, Kim effectively removed the Sussexes' ability to frame themselves as passive participants. The narrative shifted from, "This happened to us," to, "We signed off on this and misjudged the outcome." In public relations, that distinction is enormous. And perhaps most damaging of all, it didn't come from a critic. It came from someone inside the room. Beyond the immediate embarrassment, the Montecito photo controversy highlights a much larger problem facing Harry and Meghan: a lack of clarity about who they are trying to be. Public figures can reinvent themselves, but successful reinvention requires commitment. What this incident illustrates is hesitation, an inability to fully embrace either of the identities the Sussexes keep toggling between. On one hand, they pursue Hollywood relevance. On the other, they remain tethered to royal symbolism and expectations. The friction between those two goals keeps generating fallout. The most sensitive element of the photo wasn't the celebrity setting, It was what Harry wore. The poppy, especially in British culture, is not decorative. It carries emotional and historical weight tied to military sacrifice. Wearing it is a statement. Doing so at a social event on the eve of remembrance struck many observers as discordant, even if unintended. That dissonance is what ignited criticism, not malice, but symbolism. Had the image remained online, it likely would have sparked a brief debate before fading, but the attempt to erase it elevated the issue. Deletion reframed the moment as something to hide, inviting deeper scrutiny. And once that happened, interpretation hardened. Veterans advocates and commentators began asking uncomfortable questions. Was this a lapse in judgment, a misunderstanding of optics, or evidence that military symbolism had become part of a personal brand rather than a solemn commitment? Those questions linger precisely because the response was evasive. Kim Kardashian's later commentary kept the issue alive not by sensationalizing it, but by contextualizing it. She emphasized coordination, communication, and regret after the fact. In doing so, she inadvertently underscored how much more experienced her camp is at navigating these situations. This matters because reputation in Hollywood isn't built on titles, it's built on trust and predictability. Partners want to know that collaborations won't turn volatile over optics misfires. Investors want confidence in decision-making. When a simple photo leads to weeks of fallout, it raises red flags. The Sussexes' broader business struggles make this even more consequential. With podcast deals ending abruptly, streaming partnerships cooling, and lifestyle ventures facing quality concerns, credibility has become a fragile resource. Every misstep compounds the last. What's especially striking is how avoidable this all was. A single calendar check, a brief discussion about symbolism, a clearer commitment to one audience over another. Any of those might have prevented the cascade. Instead, the response suggested a reactive mindset, one that tries to manage perception after the fact rather than anticipate it. In modern media culture, that's a losing strategy. Meanwhile, comparisons to the working royal family only intensify the contrast. While Harry grapples with celebrity optics, the institution he left continues to operate through quiet diplomacy and long-term strategy. That doesn't mean one approach is morally superior, but it does highlight the trade-offs he accepted. Kim Kardashian didn't criticize Harry and Meghan outright. She didn't need to. Her commentary functioned as a mirror, reflecting their choices back at them without embellishment. And mirrors can be unforgiving. In the end, the Montecito photo saga isn't about a party or a post. It's about uncertainty, about trying to maintain multiple narratives without fully committing to any, about discovering, too late, that control isn't claimed through deletion, but through foresight. For a couple determined to shape their own story, the lesson is stark. You can't curate authenticity after the fact. You either own your choices or they own you. And in this case, a single podcast appearance made that reality impossible to ignore.